Hello everyone, welcome to the video. So in this video, let's discuss about identity and access management. So firstly, let's look what are the topics we are going to cover in this video. Firstly, what is AWS IAM and what are the key features and what are the benefits of using AWS IAM and what are the components and what are the meaning of policies and permissions. So firstly, what is AWS IAM? So the AWS Identity and Access Management is a web service provided by the Amazon Web Service that enables secure control over the access to the AWS resources. So it will allow you to manage who, that means user groups or roles, can access your resources and what action they can perform on those resources. So on the AWS IAM let you to create user groups and roles and then you can set up a permission to control access to the AWS services. For example, you can allow one person to only view the data in the S3 storage bucket. So while another can only modify it. So the IAM user that only authorized user can access your resources and it will help you to keep everything secure. Uh, Now let's see what are the key features of AWS IAM. So firstly, fine-grained permission. So that means you can control exactly what action a user or services is allowed to perform and on which AWS resources. For example, it allow a user to read the files from the one specific S3 bucket, but not delete them or access other buckets. So they can only read the S3 bucket files, and he don't have permission to access the other S3 bucket. And secondly, multi-factor authentication. So this is the feature that will add an extra layer for the security by requiring the user to provide a second form of the verification, like a code from the mobile application. And the third one is federated access. So the AWS IAM let user login into the AWS using their existing company credentials, like through the Microsoft Active Directory or the Google Workspace. So instead of creating a separate account, so this is called a single sign-on. So this will making access seamlessly and secure way. And the fourth one is role-based access. So instead of assigning a permission to the each user, so you can assign them to a role. So user or services can assume these roles temporarily to get the required permissions. And the fifth one is temporarily security credentials. So it will provide a short-term access to the AWS resources. So these credential expire after the certain time. It will reducing the risk of misuse. And lastly, access analyzer for security agents. So it's a tool that will help you to find and fix permissive access policies. So it will check who can access your AWS resources and it will alert you to potentially security risk. Now let's discuss about what are the benefits of using AWS IAM. So firstly, granular access control. So it defined detailed access permission to the service and resources. So you can give a specific permission to the user or services. So by limiting what they can do and what resources they can access. And secondly, enhanced security. Uh, It implemented practices like MFA, list privileges, and identity federation. So the IAM will help you to protect your AWS environment by enforcing best practices like adding a MFA. So it's like adding an extra layer for the login production, and least privileges means giving a user the minimum permission they need to do their job. And lastly, identity federation, like allowing a user to log in using the trusted systems like a Google without creating a separate AWS account. And scalability. So it's a easily manageable manage access as the number of user and resource grows. So as your team and resource grows, the IAM make it easy to manage the permission without creating. So you can add the hundreds of new user, and you can assign them roles instead of configuring permission individually for the each one. And lastly, auditability. So track access and changes using the AWS Cloud Trial. So you can track who did what and when using AWS Cloud Trial. So this is useful for the detecting suspicious activity or the troubleshooting problems. Now let's discuss about what are the components provided by the IAM. Firstly, the user, groups, roles, policies, and the authentication. So let's see one by one. User. So it's user are the individual accounts with the permissions. So these are the individual accounts created for the people who need the access to the AWS resources. For example, like a developer or system admin, admin can have their own account with the specific permissions. When it comes to the groups, it's a collections of user for the centralized management. So instead of assigning the permission to the each user one by one, so you can assign the permission to the group. For example, all the developers in the team, they can part of the developers group. So which has the permission to access the development resource. So whoever present in the groups, they can also access the development resources. And third one is roles. It's a temporary permission assigned to services or user. So roles are not tied to a specific user, but can also assumed when needed. For example, an application running on the EC2 instance can assume a role to read the data from the S3 bucket, so without storing the permanent credentials. When it comes to the policies, JSON document defining permissions. So policies are rules written in the JSON format, so that define what action are allowed or denied for the user, groups, or roles. For example, like if a policy can policy say, so this user can only read the data from the example S3 bucket. So this is the name of the bucket. So he can only access the data, but he cannot have the permission to delete the data which is presented in the example S3 bucket. And lastly, authentication. So it will provide the three types of authentication to the user. The first one is a password, and second one is the access key, and third one is the MFA. So in the upcoming slides, let's see the those authentications. Now let's discuss about IAM policies and permissions. So the AWS Identity and Access Management. So it defines what action a user, group, or role can perform on the AWS resources. by attaching the policies to the IAM identities or other resources. So you can enforce the security and control the access. The IAM will provide the three types of IAM policies. The first one is managed policies, second one is inline policies, and third one is resource-based policies. So let's discuss these types one by one. First one is managed policies. AWS managed policies is predefined by AWS for the common use cases. For example, like administrator access or Amazon S3 read-only access. So these are the predefined by the AWS resources, AWS for the common task. So you don't have to start from the scratch. For example, so administrator access means it will give you full access to the everything. So what are the resources present in the AWS? You can access. And when it comes to the Amazon S3 read-only access, so it will allow a user to only view the files from the S3 bucket. So he can only read the files. He will not able to do the other task like modifying or deleting like that. And also it will provide the customer managed policies like uh, you can create it will created by you. So when you need the specific permission to your needs, for example, like a policy allowing a user to read the data only to the specific S3 bucket. So secondly, inline policies. So directly embedded into an IAM user group or role. So they are tightly coupled with the identity and not for the reusable. For example, you embedded a policy in a user account to let them access the database. So if the user account is deleted, the policy is also deleted. So after deletion, he will not able to access the resources. And the last one is resource based policies. So these policies are attached directly to the resources like S3 bucket or SNS topics, and they also across the allow cross account access. So these policies are used to control access to these resources itself. So they can allow cross account access. Also, meaning it means uh, you can grant the permission to the user or the roles from the another AWS account. For example, like in S3 bucket policy, let user from the another AWS account to read or upload the files to your S3 bucket. Now let's discuss about what are the key elements provided by the IAM policy. So firstly, version statement effect. So when it comes to the version, so here you can see this is the example policy structure. Here you can see the version you need to mention that. So version means this will tell AWS what version of the policy language you are using. After that, this is the statement block. So this is the main section of the policy that where you define what are the permission are being granted or denied. So policy can have a one or more statement. So each statement describing a specific set of permission. So in the effects, you can specify allow or denied. So allow means the action is permitted to the specific user. If you mention deny, that means the action is explicitly blocked from the user. So here you can see the resource here where you mention what services you are giving the access to the specific user. Here I'm giving the AWS S3 access, S3 bucket access. This is the name of the bucket name. There is an example bucket, and this is the action. blog. So here we need to list all the AWS operations or actions that are allowed or denied. For example, here you can see S3 get object. That means you are allowing the reading files from the S3 bucket. So this is the name of the S3 bucket. So this is the example policy structure. This file is in the JSON format. Now let's discuss about what are the types of permission provided by the AWS IAM. So firstly, identity-based policies. These are attached to the users, groups, or roles, so which can control access to AWS resources for those identities. So these policies are directly attached to the IAM identities or like user groups or roles. So they can control what action a specific user group or role can perform on the AWS resources. For example, you can give a user permission to read from the S3 bucket, or you can give the permission to launch the EC2 instance like that. And when comes to the resource-based policies, these policies are attached to the resources like S3 bucket or Lambda function. So, uh, like, so they define who can access that specific resources and what action they can perform on it. Uh, for example, and also they can control access from the specific account or identities like users, group, or the roles. So, in simple terms, the identity-based policies are grant the permission to the user. So, while the resource-based policies grant the permission to the resources themselves. So, controlling access from the users or the other accounts. Now, let's take a hands-on how to create user groups, users, roles, and policies and all. So this is the IAM dashboard. So here you can see these are the services that means identities provided by the IAM. So firstly, let's create a user. So click on that. So here you can see currently we don't have any user. So let's go to create user. Here you need to give a name for the user. I'm going to give demo IAM user. Here the option called provide a user account to the AWS console. So if you click this option, the user can access the whole AWS management console. So if you want to give this access, you can enable that. So I'm going to click next. So here you can see you can add a user to the group. Currently we don't have any group. So and here is the option copy for permission. So you can copy all the group permission, attached managed policies, and inline policies from the already existing user. So currently we don't have any user or group. So let's click the attach policies directly. So when you click this options, so you can add the specific permission policies to the this user, that is a demo IAM user. So now I am going to give the S3 or I'm going to give EC2 full access. So here you can see Amazon EC2 full access. So when you give this permission to the user, uh, the all the related tasks related to the EC2 instance, the user can perform. The user can create the EC2 instance, or he can delete the instance. He can stop the instance, like that. So I'm going to give this permission to the user, that is Amazon EC2 full access, and I'm going to click next. And so next, click create user. Here you can see demo IAM user has been created successfully. So let's enter into this user. After creation of the IAM user, if you want to sign in for this IAM user, you need to enable the console access. So this is the console sign in link to access this AWS IAM user. So click on enable console access. Here they provide two options for generation of the password. So first one is the auto generated password. So when you click on that, the AWS will automatically generate the password for your IAM user, or you can choose the custom password. So I'm going to choose the password for IAM user. So after login into the IAM user, so if you check this option, the user must create a new password after a login, or you can leave it as a default password that is you have created. So I'm going to click on enable console access. So here you can see the console password has been created successfully. So this is the link for the to access the console. This is the username, and here you can see the password. So for the security purpose, I'm going to hide this password. So I'm just download this file for the future reference. So the file has been downloaded successfully. Now I'm going to log in into this IAM user. So copy the login sign in link, paste it. So here you can see this is the console. Here you need to enter the username. So I'm going to enter the password. Here you can see the IAM user has been logged in successfully. So this is the name of the user demo IAM user. So as I mentioned earlier, I had gave only the S3 or sorry EC2 instance full access. So let's check whether I am able to create the EC2 instance or not. So go to the EC2 console dashboard. Here click on the launch instance. So give a name for the instance. Example instance. So here application and OS image, I'm going to choose Amazon Linux, which is a pre-tier because this is the demo purpose. After that, the instance type, choose whichever you are convenient. So I'm going to choose T3 Micro, which contain two CPUs and 1 GB of memory. If you want to create a new key pair, you can create that, or you can select a existing one. So I'm going to select existing one, and also I'm going to select existing security group. You can create a new one if you want. Click on launch instance. Here you can see I have successfully created the EC2 instance. Let's try by creating S3 bucket whether this IAM user have the access or not. So go to the S3 console. So this is the S3 bucket dashboard. Here click on the create bucket. So I'm going to choose bucket type is general purpose. So give a name for the bucket, sample bucket. The name of the bucket must be unique. So I'm going to leave all the configuration as the default. Click on create bucket. Here I got an error, so you are not allowed to enter the special character with the name. So remove that. And you need to enter the unique name for the bucket. Click on create bucket. Here you can see I got an error. So to create a bucket, the S3 create bucket permission is required. So this IAM role doesn't have any permission to create the S3 bucket. So I gave the only EC2 instance full access to this IAM user. So that's why I'm getting an error. So this is how the IAM user works. So if you want an S3 bucket access, you need to give the permission to this IAM role. Here you can see add permission. So when you click on this, you can add the S3 bucket access to the IAM role. So here you can see the policies. Here there are different types of policies here. So there are 1350 315 policies are provided by the AWS. You can add whichever you want. Till now we have created the users, so let's dive into the users group. Let's create. So currently we don't have any group, so click on create group. So here you can see here you need to give the group name. I'm going to give just grp. So here this is the user which I have created earlier, so you can add that user into that group, and you can add more number of user to this group. So currently I don't have any I don't have many groups, many users. So you can create multiple users and you can add that into this group. And also here you can see attach permission policies. For the group, there are 1020 policies are, so we can add which one you want. So the permission which are added to this group, the same permission are applicable for this user also. So whichever policies are added to this group, the user which are presented in this group, they can access this those services also. Now here I'm going to choose S3 axis, Amazon S3 full axis, and create a user group. So here you can see the user has been created successfully. So the name of the group name is grp, and the number of the user presented in this group is 1, and the permission is defined. So when you enter this group, so you can get a detailed idea about this information. So here you can see the demo IAM user is added to the group, and let's see what are the permission added to this group. So here you can see the Amazon S3 full access. Uh, Currently have added only one permission. You can add more permission here by clicking add permission. So this is how you can create a group. And also let's see how to create a roles. So here click on the create role. Here I'm choosing a trustworthy trusted entity type is AWS service. and I'm going to choose the use cases as EC2. When you click on the EC2, there are multiple type of EC2 use cases are. So I'm going to choose allow EC2 instance to call AWS services on behalf of you. So you can choose whichever you are convenient. So I'm going to click next. Here I'm going to give the permission EC2 Amazon EC2 full access. Click on next. So here you need to give the name for the role EC2 role. So here you can see this is the trust policy file. So according to the permission which you have added, the this file will create. So here you can see EC2 Amazon AWS.com. This is the service I gave to this role. So here permission policy summary. So Amazon EC2 full access. So click on next. Sorry, create role. Here you can see the EC2 role has been created successfully. So using this role, you can access the EC2 full access. So this in this console you can see the all the configuration. So this is the file, policy file, and here you can see, you can see the access details. So currently I haven't accessed this role. Like this, if you create a IAM role, so you can give a temporary access permission to the AWS resources for the trusted entities like AWS services or other AWS accounts or the users. So the IAM role can effective. So you can secure access to AWS resources and reduce the risk of unauthorized access. So till now, you have seen how to create a user group, users, and roles, and how to add the policies to the all the identities. So, thank you guys for watching this video.